Hi, boys and girls. Yesterday we picked our pumpkin story and we zoomed in until we got a small moment, a seed story. Today we're going to think about our stories even more as we draw, and we sketch it out in 3 parts: a beginning, a middle, and an end. Let's look back at the book, The Snowy Day. When we look at the video here, I paused it so you could see this page. I'm just going to move through it quickly. If you notice, the author didn't write everything on one page. They wrote and drew the pictures and the words on lots of different pages to tell the story. We're going to do the same thing today. But first, I'm going to get out my pre-writing. And once the lesson was finished, I went and I wrote some more when the lesson was finished, and I kind of switched around my pre-writing template a little bit. So here is my pre-writing template. And remember yesterday we talked about how I was going to write about an injury, about a bike injury. And my character's name is Bob, which you can see here in my pre-writing template. And the setting of my story is outside on a street in a neighborhood. And then the problem, the solution is the part that I decided to switch. I decided after my lesson yesterday that when I was writing, I wanted to switch it, which is okay. So my problem is that Bob is riding to his grandma's house, and Bob fell off his bike and hurt his knee. That's a problem. He fell off the bike and hurt his knee. And the solution was that he was sad and he started to cry. So today we're going to sketch our story. But before I sketch, I'm going to tell what is happening on each page. Then after I tell what happens on each page, I'm going to go back and sketch. And boys and girls, when we sketch our stories, we remember that we'll come back to them tomorrow. So when we sketch, we're only going to use pencils and we're not spending a lot of time. I don't want a very detailed drawing. It's just to get everything inside your head on the paper quickly so you don't forget. Okay, so here is my pre-writing realistic fiction story. And the beginning is when I'm going to introduce or tell about the characters and the setting. The middle is where the problem happens, and the end is where the character solves the problem. So I'm going to show you. You can find any piece of paper lying around. If you printed this out, you could fold it. I have an old lesson plan here, so I'm just going to take my paper hot dog style, and I'm going to fold them both to the middle on top of one another and straight down. So if you don't have 3 separate pieces of paper, I'm folding this into thirds that now I can tap and talk about my story. And then after that, I can go back and sketch my story. So here's my 3 different pages. So first, Bob is riding to his grandma's house outside in a quiet neighborhood. Bob fell off his bike and hurt his knee. Then he was so sad that he started to cry. Okay, see how I talked about my story on the 3 different pages? That's what you're going to do. You're going to tap and talk out your story to the pages. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to quickly sketch. And I mentioned before, it's easier to sketch if you have a pencil. I'm using a marker so you can see my sketches. Remember, these are quick drawings. Okay, it doesn't have to be the most elaborate picture, just quick. So first, I talked about Bob and how he was heading to his grandma's house. So I'm just going to quickly draw a little house. That could be his grandma's house. And I'm going to quickly draw Bob. Okay. The middle, we said that he was riding his bike. Okay, his bike. Ooh, it's not in the picture. He rode his bike and he fell off. So I'm just going to draw Bob laying on the ground. Okay. And then Bob, he was sad and he started to cry. I've made a very quick sketch of what happened in my story. This is going to help me remember, so when I go back to now write, I can remember what happened. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to start writing what is happening in each picture. All right, authors, now it's going to be your turn. You're going to find a piece of paper or find 3 pieces of paper, and I want you to tell what happened in your story on each page. Just like I tapped and talked, I want you to do that. You can do it to your mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, a stuffed animal, a pet, or just the air around. Touch and tap and talk about your story. After you do that, then you're going to sketch like I did. You're going to make you're going to make quick sketches about your story. Remember only to use a pencil, so if you need to erase, you can. After you draw your sketches, you're finished for the day. I would love to see you take a little picture and send to me so I can see the layout of your story. Great job. See you all later.